So today I want to share something with you that is something that I was working on with a student of mine this week. And we have been talking about text patterns, and she has really struggled when she reads. She's not picking up on different patterns in the text. And I have seen how that can really help our students to understand what they're reading. So, especially for high school students, when they see a whole text. It is so many words for them, and it's completely overwhelming. And if we can focus in on the kind of words that they see and help them to understand patterns in the text and what they're looking for, then we can help them to make meaning of that text, even when they can't understand all of those words. And so I'm going to show you some of the things that I'm talking about. And this will, one thing that you're going to see is this is for more advanced ESL, but not too advanced ESL. So that's what this is for. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Give me just 1 minute to show it up, to pull it up. Okay. So if you can see this, this is just a guide for them. So it shows them a few different text patterns. It shows them chronological, compare and contrast, order of importance, sequence, spatial, cause and effect, and problem solution. And what this does is it gives them an idea of a graphic organizer that they would use. And so as they were reading, they would look for certain things. So number one, if they were reading a text and in that text it had dates, so they would know if it had significant dates throughout the text that that could be something that they wanted to use a graphic organizer that was chronological. And in using that chronological organizer, they would be able to say, okay, this is what happened on this day. And you're not looking at the whole text and just being overwhelmed with knowing where to start. You're able to narrow it down to see what they need to focus on. And that graphic organizer can really help them to focus those ideas. So what I did is, well, let me continue. So the next one is compare and contrast. And so the thing that you want to look for is these words. Like if you see something that says both, these are alike, they are the same. They are, this is how they're different. And when you see those words, those are your signal words to say, hey, this is important. And this is what you need to know what kind of text this is. So the pattern in that text would be compare and contrast. And so you could use like a Venn diagram. And I made one for my student that was kind of using both sides. She would write down label what each one was, and then what made them different, and then what made them alike. Okay. The next one is order of importance. So sometimes there could be an article that talks about the structure of something and what was the most important, especially if it was something like a leader or a manager down to the people who worked for that person. And so it would be a graphic organizer similar to this. Sequence, you would look for first, next, then, after that, finally. And you could use a graphic organizer similar to this, anything that goes in a line. And on here, it's really small, you can't see it, but it says like first, next, then, after. And so that would be a very common one that our students could use to help them look for, hey, what happens first and what happens next and what happens then? And to label that, even if they don't understand all of the words, to be able to work with words in English because they would know those words, the first, next, then, after that, finally. And I think it's okay also for whoever the student is to use this and use this chart and be able to translate these words so that they know what they're looking for and they know what they mean. I'm not a proponent of translation. I don't think that it really helps our students to move forward very fast. And a lot of times it holds them back. But I do think that certain signal words, understanding what those are really important, and having a reminder for a while is really helpful. And then the next one is spatial. I do have to say, sequence, you have to be careful because not every text that has first, next, then is a sequence text. But I think it works, even if it's not, to be able to organize it and not take it as one huge text, but take it as the small chunks that they would find in that. The next one is spatial. And so that's looking for a description of something. And so then maybe you would look for the words on the left, on the right, across from, above, in the corner of. Those words are all things that would show spatial. And I just have some kind of diagram like this that would show where those things were. You could use any diagram. And sometimes you just draw a picture of what you read. If somebody's describing a house or a storefront, as you hear it and it says there's a door in front of something, then you can draw that. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be this organizer. The next one is cause and effect. And so you're looking for words like if, without, but, so, because. And so when you see those along with, hey, here's what happened and this is why it happened, then you could use an organizer similar to this. And then the last one that I have is problem solution. And so you're looking for actual words that say, this is the problem and this is how we solved it. All right. And so just having these can help a student be able to go from, wow, this is this text and it has 1,000 words and I have no idea how to make any sense of it because there are no pictures and there's nothing that I understand, to be able to say, if I'm looking for a pattern in this text, it looks like it could be chronological. And if I divide that up, I can take each date and be able to write something about it. And that can help them. It can offer a ton of support very quickly. Another thing is narrative. And later I will share kind of a narrative diagram that they could use. And so that's not on here. This would just be for informational texts. All right. And so then I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. And then the other thing that I have is a PowerPoint, and it is all text, and I don't like to use all text with my students. But the reason that it's all text is because it is using this patterns in the text to teach them what that looks like inside a text. And so I used simple texts to explain that. And so I'm going to show you that as well. So give me just 1 minute to share that. Okay, it's coming up. All right. And so here we go. Okay, so this is patterns in the text. This one says elementary because I was doing it for like simplified. And so I changed it. And the one that I'm going to put down below is just going to say that it is a simplified text patterns. Okay, so what you would do is you would show them here is one example of a very, very shortened text. So cats and dogs are both popular pets, but they have some differences. Cats like to be alone sometimes and can play by themselves. They are very quiet and they don't need a lot of space. And so right away, you can see you're going to match it with that guide that I showed you before, and you're going to have them see, do they see any of those words? So number one, does it have any dates? No, it doesn't have any dates. So it's not chronological. Scratch that one out. And then does it have two things that they're comparing? And does it use the word both? Does it use different? Does it use any of those? And so when you see those in the text, then you're going to say, oh, maybe that's compare and contrast. And when you keep going, then it will show you which one it is. So you can have your students vote, you can have them use the guide at their desk, and then they can all like vote on which one they think it is. They can hold up a whiteboard with which one they think it is, but it lists all of them on the side, and then they would have all of them in front of them. And then you would be able to talk about those things you had taught them. So then this one, plants need water to stay healthy. And you keep going and you're going to look at the different things and you're really looking at cause and effect. And so this is an example of cause and effect. They would be able to use that. And what I did with my student is I also printed these out. And when I printed them out, I let her mark on them because kids need an example of how they would actually mark to find those things from that guide. And so that's what she did. And it was super helpful for her. And she got really excited. She was like, oh, it's cause and effect, right? And it was really great. This is first, get 2 slices of bread. Next, open the jar. So you would have your students circle first and circle next and circle then. And I just have her go through the list every time and be like, is it chronological? No, I don't see any dates. Is it comparing and contrasting two things? No. Is it order of importance? No. Is it? And so then you're going through and you're like, oh, it's sequence. And you clearly see those things marked. And so then that helps. And then she's going to go through and put in there on her graphic organizer what that looks like. And then she's taken a text that has a lot of words, although this one doesn't have a lot of words, but she's taken a text that has a lot of words and putting that into a graphic organizer. And that starts to help kids understand those big texts. All right. And so then you have one, and this one has dates, and so it's chronological. You have another one that shows spatial, and so they're talking about describing a room. You have another one that is problem and solution, and it actually says problem in the text. And then there's another one that is well, you had the order of importance. Sorry about that. And then you have this one that is actually could be both. It could be sequence, it could be problem and solution. And so just a sample of showing your kids how not everything is cut and dry, and you can pick the graphic organizer that you think will go with it, and you can try it and see if that gives you a big picture, helps to narrow down what that text is about and helps you to understand better, which is the point. So I am going to share both of these resources in the information below. There should be a link to them. And if you have any trouble, I'm going to be monitoring this website more closely. And so put something in the comments and let me know. And then I will get back with you if there's trouble that you have. All right. And then look for some cool things coming up soon. If this is helpful for you, then please subscribe to the channel and make sure not to miss any updates that come, because there are lots that are coming soon. Okay. Thanks so much.